Couldn't get my music playing because it won't connect to my
Now
phone.
we're live. We are live.
All right, y'all. We are live. Welcome to the Grio Lounge, everybody. We running a little late. I do apologize. We had some technical difficulties. Of course, I still don't have my little mouse button. We couldn't get it working, and it was causing us some problems. So, I hope my guest is still coming on. I hope it isn't too late for him to come on and uh and get started. I think we're on. I think I do see him. I can't click him in yet. What did that mean? I can't add to stream. All right, yeah, we there we go. Hey, brother, Doctor
Hey, what's
Mike,
going on?
my big brother.
What's going on?
Oh, it
Oh,
did
that's why you
connect.
couldn't connect to the
Oh,
Huh?
computer.
yeah, my computer is connected to my speaker. That's why. Okay,
Oh, okay.
I was having some technical difficulties. I apologize
That's
for that.
okay.
Welcome to the Griot Lodge. I couldn't play my theme music because I'm having technical difficulties.
Well, because
Uh,
Yeah, it's connected
no
to my
problem.
computer. I could still probably uh,
it probably wouldn't sound right.
huh?
Okay.
It wouldn't sound right.
You don't
'Cause
think
it's gonna
so?
be no. It's
I
gonna
got
be
theme song. I haven't had opportunity to play it in a while. So, but yeah,
Oh,
this is
okay.
the Griot Lounge. I don't know where my Batista is. I got stuff in my bra. We usually pour a little drink or whatnot. Today we're supposed to be drinking some whiskey sour, but where's my bartenders? I'm supposed
I
to
need,
have music
I
on
need
here
one of them. I need one of those myself. Trust me.
today. Okay. So everybody, this is my big brother, Dr. Michael Thomas. And I met him a couple years ago, I guess it's been. We've been real good friends on Facebook. We kind of, you know, we kind of stay on the same wavelength sometimes. So yeah, we kind of tag team sometime back and forth. But so
Exactly.
y'all gotta watch out. Y'all gotta watch out because we don't let nothing pass. And I so black today because we so late. We
Right.
so black today. Oh, here's my barista, Jay Bunny in the house. My co-host is Dre Vibes. That's my son. They just all over
Okay.
the place.
Okay.
I only have one camera, which is my actually I do. I can use my cell phone camera too. So anyway, we just tell stories here because I feel like our stories are most important and somehow if we don't tell our own stories, somebody else will. And
That's true. That is
everybody's
true.
got a story to tell.
Right.
Everybody's got a story. But for right now, we just need you to give us a little introduction. Tell us about yourself. Um, tell us about, just give us a little introduction. You give us a little bit about yourself.
And my name is Mike Thomas. Everybody calls me Doc. I'm originally from Ohio. I'm not too far from where you at up there. Actually,
Hey,
got a lot of relatives in Detroit. A whole slew of them. Trust me, up there in Detroit. But I've been up that way in a long time. I just currently live in a place called Lady Lake, Florida, Villages in Florida. It's a
I'm
retirement
so
area.
jealous.
Oh, wow. It's cold as hell out here right now. Trust me.
What?
It was 29 degrees last night here.
Oh no,
That's
29.
not. Yeah,
Oh
that's highly
no.
unusual. Highly unusual. But tomorrow
Yeah,
it'll be
that's
70.
kind
So
of yeah. Because every time I talk to Nashika down there, it's always 70 degrees or some shit, and I'll be jealous
yeah,
of that
yeah,
too.
we have a very unusual weather, no doubt. About this. So, but no,
It's a
but
it's a it's a lot of weird shit going on.
it's all over the planet. Trust me. But people don't want to pay attention to it. So
No.
But I have my thoughts on that too. About what's happening. But hey, it is what it is. But
Okay.
for those of you listening, I'm a former pastor. Pastored for I don't know 25 years. Actually, here in Florida, had one of the largest churches actually in the state of Florida, well over 5,000 people.
Wow.
Um, Started with me and my then wife at the time. We started our living room and built it from there, and it was very successful. Um, I earned my a bachelor's, a master's, and a doctorate in theology. Earned it from Bradford College in Haverhill, Massachusetts. Traveled the world to study, to see a lot of stuff. That caused me to walk away from religious bullshit. Period.
Oh.
So, particularly the trip to the Vatican, I was never a Catholic, but I had a professor, and I won't say his name because he's well known throughout the Catholic Church. He's not the Pope, but he was a Jesuit priest, and the school was not Catholic, but he just happened to be a Jesuit priest who had a lot of pull. And after I graduated, he called me one day and said, "Listen, I've got permission to take you to the Vatican." I'm like, "Dude, why would I want to go to the Vatican? I'm not Catholic." You know. He said, "Well, I would tell you all the time." He would say this in class all the time. He'd go like, "Thomas, you don't believe shit stinks unless you smell it." And yeah, that was me. I questioned everything. And he said, a lot of things you said here, I wonder how you knew. I said, I just knew. So he said, well, we got 14 days. We spent over there. And I said, okay. I said, well, I said, dude, I don't want to spend the money to go. He said, no, everything's paid for. Don't worry about it. So we got there, and next it was Pope John Paul at the time. Met him. And,
Wow.
Sit down and had
I
dinner
remember
with
when
him.
we went to Detroit.
Yeah. Sit down and had dinner with him, and we talked. And he said, well, tomorrow I'm going to allow you to go into the library. And he said, I said, really? I'm like, okay. He said, this is the thing. He said, anything you see in there, you can't share for at least 15 years. I'm like, why? He said, we don't allow, and the thing is, they don't allow just anyone to go into the library, even today. I mean, usually it's the cardinals and the bishops and those with, higher authority are able to go in there even today. But and then if you do get in, you got to know exactly what you're looking for, and they'll take you to it. Well, I have free reign, so the guide that I had with me, he said, "What do you want to look at?" I said, "Well, I want to look at, first of all, the history of the Bible and stuff about Jesus." And he took me in this place. When I say this library was probably the size of 2 city New York blocks.
Wow.
I mean, it was huge. I saw artifacts there that made my eyes damn near pop out my head.
Wow.
There were skeletons entombed in glass cases of people that who knows how old they were. I mean, they were thousands of years old. There were artifacts there that were probably older that people have already never seen before. I'm like, what the hell is all this shit? But so he took me to this one area, and I started. There was an area I probably say, I don't know, probably 20 feet high, probably about 50 feet wide. I mean, it was just deep. And he pulled out some books, and this one particular book was written by one of the first bishops of the Catholic Church, and I think he pronounced his name Ignatius.
Ignatius, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know the bishop, I just know the name because it's a school in Detroit, St. Ignatius.
Right. And he was an asshole. He thought he was God. He thought he was the one that started the Christian Crusades. Want to kill and put people in the name of God, but he felt that he was God and this and that. But he was one of the forerunners of the information that people have in churches today when it comes to the Bible. Because of course, the Council of Nice 325 AD, that was a different situation. But that stuff was not in English. That stuff was written in Latin or either and in Greek, two together. So what Ignatius did was turn into a lot of Latin and made force people to take it. Well, and that was actually before Constantine, from that time.
Wow.
There's a story I think I read that said that Jesus was not the person in the Bible, but they do say that there was such a man, something like him that lived, but he didn't die on a cross. Wow. He didn't die for sin of people. He was a master, just a master, period. That's all he was. And he went off and got married. They didn't want to kill him. They couldn't find him.
So he got married, this Jesus person?
Yeah. He got married and had kids. Who he got married to, nobody really. They think was married, but who knows? But that's the story. But that also tells you that the story of Jesus in the Bible is not true. It was made up. It was copied. It was totally copied.
And how did you feel when you found that out? Did you feel?
I was tripping. I tripped. Honestly, I mean, I'll tell you, I was there 14 days, and I went to bed every night, balled up like a baby, crying.
Wow.
Just crying because I was seeing so much and hearing but And I was like, but I thought, no,
Right.
but I've been told, but no, all this shit was totally unreal. And then when you
Wow.
argue with Negroes, especially in the black churches, you know, about let me say niggas, I'm sorry, okay, in the black church about Christianity in particular, they want to argue, oh, the Bible is the word of God. They don't realize where this shit actually came from. You know, fuck King
Right.
James. King James. King James was a faggot, first of all.
Right.
King James was, he was just mesmerized by witchcraft. So he was into a whole lot of stuff.
Uh-huh.
Um, but this dude, he was a nobody. But black folk ain't nothing right but the King James version. Okay, whatever.
Right.
But there is just so much information that we don't know, and most people will never know.
And they
I
don't
was
want to. They don't like
yeah,
their illusions being challenged. For some reason, it's offensive to challenge
exactly.
what you know. Why wouldn't you take that and decide for yourself? Like, maybe I've been lied to. Maybe let me find out what's really going on.
No, they don't want to take the time. Everybody's been brainwashed, and it started really traditionally around slavery time, especially when the Europeans went into Africa. I mean, that was their main thing. Slavery was not their main thing. The thing was again is to brainwash people. Once they were able
Right.
to brainwash the people, then they start enslaving them. You know. Um, then I mean, the slave trade. Half of the shit we hear about slavery is untrue. You
Thank
know,
you.
there
Thank
were
you.
not 40 million or 50 million, whatever million people enslaved to come over
They
here.
said 100
There's just
million
yeah,
people.
there was just no way that they didn't have they didn't have the boats to do that. So first of
Right.
all, and people, I mean, even I saw one writing that they did have there that was originally supposedly written by Columbus, where Columbus talked about, when he first got here. Of course, Columbus landed in South America. He didn't land in North America. He saw people brown skin. He saw black people. We were already here. You
Yep.
know. So people all these folks want to talk about they from Africa and
But
this
he
and
was
that.
a
Yeah,
mulatto himself. King James was a mulatto himself. His mama was I think mixed and his daddy was black.
yeah, exactly. But
They
people
say a
don't
lot
know
of the
that.
conquistadors that the people that came over here wasn't European. We had a lot. This shit blew my mind. We had a lot of invaders that looked just like us.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
America
We did.
was
Yeah,
the land of milk and
yeah,
honey, and we
exactly. And
had
the
slavery.
Spaniards. There were a lot of black Spaniards that came over here.
I
You
need
know,
my margarine.
that were part of the slave thing. They treat us like shit. But I mean, everybody
Okay,
wanted. It wasn't just white folks involved in this thing, slavery. It was black folks. Black folks had slaves too back then. Not
yeah.
as much as what. And again, it's not as much as what they put out in the history books, and they tell us there were 40 million
But they
people
didn't
and
even
folks
call
that.
it slavery. All
Yeah,
that stuff we
exactly.
see with the slave stuff on it, they wrote that
Mhm.
stuff back in the 18th and early 19th century.
Exactly.
All that they
Exactly.
didn't even call it slavery. They actually called it a servitude or
Servitude. Right.
something like
Yeah.
that. They didn't even call it
Well,
slavery.
there was voluntary and involuntary
It is
servitude. So,
voluntary. And we
yeah, voluntary.
basically
Right.
lost our land. That's why we ended up becoming slaves. They say you want your
Exactly.
land back, you can work on it. And you
Exactly.
can't get it
Exactly.
back.
Exactly.
They scammed us out of our land. That's how we became slaves. We didn't
Exactly.
effort. We walked
Exactly.
into this shit with a
Mhm.
purpose. We had a reason. And that's why we don't talk about it, because it was all stupid.
Exactly.
We
It
fell
sure
for the
was.
dumb shit.
Yeah, and we still do today. I mean, we still
Mhm.
do today. I mean, people will argue you down. Yeah, I mean, I ain't gotta tell you. You already know. They will argue you down, talk about you, turn it back on you, whatever. I've lost so many people and friends over the years. Especially when I walked away from the church, even some family members. Oh, how you turn your back on God? I said I did. I just walked away from that bullshit. Period. I mean, because trust me, I've seen some shit. I mean, I was a bishop, archbishop, as a matter of fact.
Wow.
I knew
I am
I knew Jakes.
Archbishop, y'all. I've
Yeah,
never been that close.
I knew Jakes and all those boys. I sat in meetings with them clowns, so I
Wasn't
knew
you
what they were about.
the first one?
I mean, I knew Eddie Long was fucking boys. Years ago.
Oh, hey,
It
man,
was no surprise when it came out. Like wow. But people just don't know what's behind closed doors. They put all these people up on pedestals. They believe the bullshit. on Sunday morning, and first person to call somebody a goddamn witch. I mean, niggas love calling people witches. I'm
Oh
like, y'all
yeah.
the same motherfuckers that get up Sunday mornings and first Sunday of every month and eat parts of a body and
Say
drink
it.
some blood of a
Say it.
dead person.
Say
And
it.
y'all talking about witchcraft.
Right. That's straight up cannibalism. Lady
Thank
told
you.
me on the post yesterday, day before yesterday, she told me, and I don't know, I need to stop letting this shit bother me, but I do because I just get so irritated. But she tried to tell me, I didn't even, it wasn't even nothing in my conversation that would allude to me trying to send her evil spirits and voodoo. She just assumed that because people was saying, she was talking about the ancestors. I said, you sweetie, you are the ancestors, so if anybody praying to the ancestors, they're praying to themselves. She was saying, y'all be burning sage and praying to the ancestors and I'm gonna let you know that if you send any energy my way, I'm gonna reverse that shit. I'm like, wait, hold up. What makes you think I'm trying to curse you, lady? I said, you might be able to reverse curses, but I can too.
Exactly.
And I said, every time you tell somebody God bless you, you cursing them. But you weren't about me sending you a curse. Every time you say, well, God bless you, you cursing somebody. You telling them to go dip their ass in blood.
Thank you.
You cover yourself in blood.
Exactly.
That's what the Roman Catholic Church is about. It's about cannibalism, pedophilia,
always has been.
narcissism. So she worrying about me sending her curses, but you ain't worrying about. Okay, you ain't worried about the gospel that you preach every Sunday.
Most people are just aren't ready for this. I mean, I try to keep things, reasonable when I talk, but and there are times that some people make me go off, but for the most part, I just try to share information.
I just
love to share information with people, and so stuff that I know that they don't know, or they don't take the time to do the research to actually find out, or stuff that I've seen before, so I can say, okay, yeah, I know this is real because I've seen it myself. It's not what somebody told me. So it's just different. But folks, they still want to argue. They want to stay in their ignorance.
But you're so loving and professional with the way you handle them. You're way better than me. I mean, seriously, you the way you respond to them. You also post the information. You say, hey, go look this up. This is what y'all be talking about. Go check this out. And you're just so gracious. You're way better than me because I be going off.
I haven't always been this way. Trust me, I have not always been this way. I still got some people to say, "Oh, I remember days you was just for that cuss somebody out," and I sure would. I mean, when I was even in ministry, he used to call me the cussing preacher because I would cuss a motherfucker out in a heartbeat. I mean,
I would have been a member at your church.
Yeah, because
that's my pastor.
I preached a sermon. I preached a sermon one day. I was it was after the movie Fatal Attraction, and it was funny. I know where my mind when I was speaking the message, and this is on national damn TV. And I said, y'all remember the movie, where this guy was, slipping, and I meant to say dipping, and I said dicking. Everybody fell out. I said, well, he was. I said he was giving a dick, so get right.
I know
would have made him into a meme.
Oh yeah, my son said if it was today's time, they would have made it into a meme.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Yeah,
I remember he gave me ideas. But I love to make up memes. So
our show is about story time. We want to give you an opportunity to tell a story, any story at all that you want that you want to share. It could be about your past job title, your past. It could be about your school days. What I do is I'll let you decide what story you want to tell us, or if you don't have one to think of, we can pull from the Grio hat.
Oh, there is one story I talk about. I talk about it a lot because it has a lot to do with the spiritual part of who I am or what I've become. And that happened back in November of 2011.
Okay.
It was the day before Thanksgiving. I remember at the office and we had a lunch, and I got sick as hell. I walked outside to smoke a cigarette, and my stomach was turning in knots. I mean, it hurt so bad. And I went home, laid down, they got worse. So I got up and I went to the hospital. They told me, well, your gallbladder is, clogged up and this and that, so you're going to need surgery. Well, it was a holiday. And, they said, well, you can see a doctor on, next Monday, whatever. Next day I got up, I was in so much pain. I took my ass back to the hospital. They rushed me up to surgery because the thing was about ready. It actually burst inside of me. So they took me to surgery and they took it out. And I remember when I woke up and the doctor said, how you feel? I said, I don't feel the pain anymore. I said, but I'm just sick, And he said, it'll get better. He said, well, it burst, so, he said, I got all of it out. Okay, that's cool. I was in the hospital for 3 days. And this hospital, I lived in Jacksonville at the time, Jacksonville, Florida. The hospital that I went to was on the south side. I live in a place called Orange Park, which is about 35 miles away. Came home, and they got to let me out of the hospital. I was sick, and I drove myself, and I was driving like this. I mean, I was sick, and I got home, got in the bed, and I was in the bed for 5 days, and I didn't get any better. I was sick. I hadn't eaten anything or drinking anything for 5 whole days. So finally, that Friday, I grabbed my phone. I called my doctor, who was right down the street, and told him, I said, well, I'm sick. I need to see you right away. He said, okay, well, come on at 1 o'clock. It took me 5 hours to get dressed. That's how bad I was sick I was. I got to his office, and I remember walking in the front door. After that, I don't remember the nurse saying, Mr. Thomas, you look bad. What's wrong? That's all I remember. I guess I fell out after that. When I woke up, I was in his office on that bed or gurney, whatever they call that thing in his office there. He said, Mr. Thomas, what happened? I said, man, I had surgery. He said, what'd they do? I said, they took my gallbladder out, and he took some blood. He said, give me a few minutes here. He came back, he did a checkup. He said, Mr. Thomas, you're dying. I thought, I laughed, like, yeah, all right. He said, no, I'm serious, you're dying. He said, I'm going to call an ambulance and get you back to the hospital. He said, because your body's shutting down.
Wow.
So I was in Orange Park, so they took me over to Orange Park Medical. Orange Park looked at me and said, well, we didn't do the surgery, so we're going to have to put you back on the ambulance and send you back over to the south side. Do you have any relatives? No, I said, my ex-wife is here, that's it, Well, we need to call because it's not looking good. It's a minute. Be honest with you, Mr. Thomas, if you make it there, you'll be lucky. And I remember right across the bridge to get there finally. And I remember the doctor, they just pushed everything out of the way, rushed me up to surgery.
Wow.
And I remember them putting the thing on my face where I went to sleep at. And next thing I knew, I was looking down on my body.
Wow.
I'm up here, and I'm looking down. I heard every word they said. I saw everything they were doing. I heard the doctor say, we lost him. He's crashing. And I saw them when they put the paddles on my chest and tried to start my heart back up, Next thing I know, it's like I just floated away some damn where. And going through this, I don't know. I don't call it a tunnel, hallway, whatever the hell it was. It was weird. No fear, didn't see no Jesus, nobody like that, But as I was going through this tunnel or maze or whatever the hell it was, you could feel this energy, going down here, and this energy felt familiar. It was like people that I had known, ancestors that I had, even though I had never met. I felt that presence. Yeah, and there was a light at the end of the tunnel. It seemed like I got there real quick. When I got to the light, I remember looking around like, wow, where in the hell am I? And I was like, and I realized, okay, I'm dead.
You realize that?
I'm like, wow, I'm dead. And I looked at the light. I'll say it was so bright that I know with these eyes, you couldn't look at it. It was that bright, But me not being in the body, looking at it was different. And I turned and I looked, and all of a sudden it spoke. And when I said it spoke, it wasn't like me and you are talking right now. This was like, mind to mind.
Right.
And it gave me a choice. Do you want to stay or you want to go? I'm like, ooh, where am I? I said, and I'll say this much, is that what was coming from this light was a feeling of love that I cannot put into words to this day. It's not like love between you and your mother or father or your husband, wife, girlfriend, or boyfriend. It's nothing. It was nothing like that. It was so strong and so powerful. And it's like, let's say your life flashes before you. It's
Yeah.
like everything just flashed before me. And it wasn't bad. I wasn't being judged. I just saw everything that had happened, throughout my life. Not only this life, it seemed like it was prior life. It's stuff that I know, like, I remember that, but I don't remember that in this life. It was so strange. I mean, it was almost like a screen was there, and I saw stuff, and I knew this was me, but it wasn't me. It wasn't the same body, And then I saw this body. I'm like, okay, what the? And I said, I think I want to go back. And as it was like I was turning around to go back, and I turned back around. I said, I got a question. And I said, okay. I said, what is right and what is wrong?
Wow.
And I'll never forget these words, the words that came. There is no right, there is no wrong. Everything just is.
Wow. That's
and next thing I knew, I was back in the recovery. And I was in recovery when I woke up. And the doctor walked in. He said, you were gone for 35 minutes.
Wow.
I was like,
35 minutes and they brought you back still?
Yeah, 35 minutes.
35 minutes.
35 minutes. He said, I think you probably have broken a record.
That's some serious, meta starseed kind of thing going on.
Yeah, exactly. And they were worried about brain damage. They said we have to do some more tests because we're worried about you going that long. There could be some brain damage. They never found anything. Everything was fine, And he said, what happened to you? And I said, Doc, I know some people claim they saw Jesus. I said, I didn't see all of that. I said, I'm going to tell nobody a lie. I said, all I can tell you is I saw light and I spoke to it. And it wasn't like me talking to you right now. It was like metaphysically or telepathically, I should say, that we were talking. And I said, I asked a question, and
do you think it was a higher form of your own consciousness?
That's what I think. I still could describe what it was. In my book I describe it. I said I don't call it God or whatever, but I don't know what. Yeah, it's hard. It had to be some type of consciousness. It had to be a part of my consciousness. It had to be.
That's kind of, that's what said. Did it feel like you said like a love you've never felt before? There's no greater love than self-love. So
exactly.
Maybe I'm just speculating. Maybe
that's true. No, that's true. That is true. That is very true. No greater than self-love.
Because I had a similar experience, but again, there was no God, there was no Jesus. The only presence in the room was me. When I say similar, I mean I wasn't dying. I wasn't going down the hallway. I was contemplating suicide, and I felt like that there was just no way out. I was in a church. I was married to a minister. He cheated on me. I was like the scorn and the ridicule, the gossip of the church. I just felt like my life was over because people was talking and I was getting unsolicited, greetings and things. People were saying, yeah, well, now your husband out the picture. Can I holler? It was like, are you serious right now? I just felt so alone. I felt so exposed, and I was just killing myself. And it was a brief moment with the same feeling of warm. It just overflooded me because I felt so. I just felt like there was no other way.
Right.
And at a moment, there was one thought that came through my mind. It was like, this is going to destroy your mother when she finds out. And then I felt a lot of love at that moment. Of course, being a Christian, I connected it with it being, God, but there was,
of course,
there was no, my child, hang in there, it wasn't one of those things. It was just like, I know that if nobody loved me, my mama loved me.
Right.
And I just held on to that feeling. And I felt, and she actually did confirm. She said, at the moment you're talking about, I felt like something was wrong. And I wanted to reach out to you. I didn't have a phone. See, that was the thing. I didn't have a phone. My phone was cut off. So I ain't had no way to get in touch with nobody, which to me was perfect. Because I'm like, good, no interruptions. I can just go on and but so her thoughts just it engulfed me. I couldn't get her out of my mind. I said, I would destroy my mom. I can't hurt her like that.
Right.
And I felt.
I mean, I kind of felt the same way when I left ministry. You know, that's why I ended up getting a divorce. My ex-wife could not take that. You know, I mean, for me just walking away like that, you know, it was like, I mean, and people, especially when you're in church and you walk away from that, it's hard on not only you, but it's also hard on family members and people that you've associated with. I mean, you gotta remember, I brought in 5,000 people out of nowhere into this church. You know, I had churches all around the world that been an archbishop, and I remember I called a meeting that Saturday night, and I did a conference call with about 100 of my bishops that work under me. And I told them I'm stepping away. You know, I can't do it anymore. You know, and I told the congregation that Sunday morning, I can no longer stand here and tell y'all shit I know is not true. You know, and it was and all that, and this is and what happened to me with the thing in the hospital. That was just maybe about a year before I stepped away from the ministry. Period. So
see, I didn't walk away until years later. I stayed after that incident because I honestly didn't have nothing else to do. I didn't have the internet. I couldn't research, you know what I'm saying? I couldn't communicate with others that were seeking. I just stayed in it, but I was still one of those people that just always, every time something came up that I didn't agree with, I'm like, excuse me, I don't, and then I became that person that they kept telling, lean not to your own understanding, but in other words, don't worry about understanding it, Lynette. Just accept it. And I'm like, I can't. This makes no sense to me.
It doesn't. I mean, even when I was younger, I was always a person that was inquisitive, and I mean, my parents used to say, for our fathers say, you ask too many damn questions, boy. I mean, I questioned everything. I mean, period. I know. When I was a kid, I was raised in the AME church, and I got older and got married. I got in the Church of God in Christ. So and that was, oh my God, that was a mess. But anyhow, I mean, I questioned everything. I mean, I'm listening to these stories in Sunday school, and I'm like, how did that happen? That don't make any sense.
Don't make no sense. What you mean, a burning bush just talk?
Yeah, exactly.
What it have a voice recorder or something? How did was that? What? It just, you're right. It didn't make no sense. And the one thing, and I say all young people get to this conclusion way before older people do, because they young folks, you just can't pull the wool over their ass all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Young folks said, wait a minute, if Adam and Eve was the only people in the world, how did Cain go off and marry a woman somewhere else in another land somewhere? Where them people come from? And you never heard one Sunday school teacher ever answer that question. They never did. They
won't. As a matter of fact, it was funny you mentioned that. A friend of mine he's a bishop, a good friend of mine. He's not a Christian though, but he still maintains the title. And we were talking about that online today, and I kind of jokingly said, honestly, I said, if that was the case and that's all true, there was a lot of incest going on. Obviously, somebody was screwing their mom and everything else. So, if all that happened.
But I've heard, theologians say, there was a second creation. I never did dig deep into that. Do you have any knowledge about the second creation?
I've heard, some things, and I remember some classes in college where we talked about that. And
Lilith was the first woman.
Yeah, Lilith was the first person, but but who was, that was Adam's. But that was Adam's first wife. Well, what happened to Lilith? Okay, Lilith, the time span between Lilith and Adam, from what I understood back then, was thousands of years. So Adam wouldn't even been around, first of all. And he had this philosophy that everybody popped up at one time. And of course, then there are those that also too have another of my professors that really felt that we are part of an alien species, that we were all created and brought here and dropped off and da 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 da. That.
I believe that. I believe
anything is possible. Anything is possible. And I tell people all the time, I said, for us not to believe, or us to believe that we're the only people in this universe is ludicrous.
I don't like to use the word alien either. I like to use the word original, or
yeah, yeah,
because alien is, we are aliens if you want to know the truth.
exactly. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I do
That
believe
is
this
true.
earth was engineered. I do believe there was some intelligent life force that helped to engineer this planet. That's not me saying that that's not God. In a
Right.
sense, it is,
Yeah.
because as people, it's the same thing. God and man is the same thing, folded in on itself. So
If you ever get a chance, you got to go to Egypt and go through the tombs and through some of the things you see there. I mean, it's amazing when you look at these things. I mean, you see them on pictures is a different thing, but to walk inside one and to see the stuff, you just go like, how in the hell were they able to do this? You know, millions of years ago. How? It was impossible. I mean, the size. You see the stuff on TV they show, but to actually see the size of some of those blocks, I mean, some of them were big as an apartment building. Like, how in the hell did they get those damn things?
advanced
Yeah,
technology, I think. I
yeah.
mean, like I said, I just believe it. I don't have no proof. I
Oh,
just
I know, I believe it. I tell you, there is
some
some proof.
forms of technology that they use, and almost like I hear people say that the future proves the past, or we live in actually in the past, and that
Hmm.
then was the future. I mean, it sounds crazy, but
No, it's actually not. Because time is revolves. You know, I agree. Something to Solomon. There's nothing new up under the sun. Everything. Nothing new. But when you walk in some of these tombs and you walk some of these artifacts over in Egypt, there are pictures inscribed on these walls of what look like spaceships
yeah, I
and
seen some
people.
of those pictures.
You know,
Because I
yeah.
didn't
I
know
mean,
a person, I just look at it and say, oh, it could be Photoshop, could be.
no, 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 no. Those are real. I saw three. I saw at least three. Those were real, and I was like, damn, okay.
Because
And then they, yeah,
they had the cell phone, they had cell phone, picture
yeah,
of cell phone, and I'm like, that could be Photoshop. That's not.
yeah. It's easy to Photoshop stuff, but I saw those. But the technology they used back there, because if you understand the pyramids, why they built the pyramids, where they built them, and how they built them. I mean, they were precise in their mathematics in aligning various planets and the moon, especially at a certain degree. Okay, because they believe because of the energy sources of energy, and that's
Yeah,
why they buried a lot of
and
these pharaohs.
energy portals. Pyramids were charging stations, energy portals.
Exactly,
Um,
exactly.
and when I saw a picture, like I said, I just can't confirm the picture because it was a picture. Somebody
Right.
sent me a picture of what the capstone removed off the pyramid, what was under there, and it was so um it was like one of those things that kind of just made everything come together when I saw it. The
Right.
picture, what was on top of the pyramids were antennas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then
Yep.
I said, wait, I said, so I believe this is how they control the frequencies.
I believe so too. I
Because
truthfully
how
believe.
is it that how is it that a country, I mean a landmass, totally covered and protected from the rest of the world, highly technological and everything. And I'm talking about this landmass. I mean, the stuff I've seen that was here before we got invaded. It's like how did we forget? Like we had electric trains
Mm-hmm.
in this country. Talking about Wakanda was real.
Yep.
Like we had an
Yep.
underground electric trains. That's how the subways and stuff got connected and built. They didn't
Exactly.
go over here
Exactly.
and create no subway system. That shit was already here. They built on top of it.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I'm like, this. When I saw the antennas, I said, even if this is Photoshop, this still connect a lot of dots. Because I'm like, how the fuck did we let some foreign aliens come in our land,
Mm-hmm.
indoctrinate us
Exactly.
for centuries?
Exactly.
Whereas
Oh,
beforehand,
that it wasn't hard. It wasn't hard to do with a gun to your head and a whip.
yeah, but
Accepted.
niggas ain't scared of a bullet. They don't
Yeah.
care. They ain't got nothing to lose. They'll take one.
Yeah.
So that's
That's true.
that's
That's
part
true.
of it, though. That's
Right.
part of it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Because when you see your loved one getting pain and torture,
You're free.
So
you froze up for a moment there.
Yeah, so I don't know. I keep thinking because that's what they're doing to control us now. That broadcast signal is what people cling to.
Yep, that's true.
If they say vote for so and so, BP, they're gonna do it. If they say go get a vaccine, they're gonna do it. And I'm not, knocking the choices that people make, but the reality is if they never saw that broadcast signal, they would never do it. They think
It's the fear factor. I got vaccinated, and
but you got issues. I understand. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I did. And that's what I was thinking about. Time it was, I just had open heart surgery, kidneys bad, and everything else. So I was like,
I understand.
Yeah. So that was the time. But I'm looking at it now, and I'm going like, okay, what is this shit? Here we go now talking about a fourth and a fifth shot bullshit. No. And where did this thing actually come from? Did it really start in China? China, we blame China, China blames us.
I don't know. I just know this. This is what I do know. I know that COVID within itself, even the phrase COVID is not a disease. It's not a virus. It's just a term. And that term within itself has a lot of fear attached to it because that's all we heard. Think about it. You can look up the patent for all viruses, except there's no patent for COVID. You can go type it in the CDC. You can go type it in Google. You won't find a patent for it. You find a whole bunch of stuff connected to the word, but you will not find the patent numbers. U.S. patent 0097. You won't find that. You'll find it for Corona, SARS,
exactly.
For every virus. But COVID. So that lets you know right there, that's not even the virus itself. What people are dealing with when they say it started out as an acute respiratory virus, which is the same thing as SARS-2. SARS-2 was an acute respiratory. Everybody had that shit. They released it. But because it wasn't scary enough.
Right.
Okay, Corona. Tell the people that coronavirus is on the rise. Corona, oh my God, we got a virus sound like a beer, y'all. So people joked about that. That was like, okay, that ain't scary enough.
Right, exactly.
By the end of 2019 and 2020, it became COVID.
Right.
Exactly. When people heard the word COVID, they got scared. Scared to shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and those pictures, the little round thing with the little whatever coming out of it.
Yeah,
that scared the shit out of a lot of people. That scared the shit out of a lot of people.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, what is this shit? And I've got a friend who just came from. He was from here. He was living in Ukraine. Matter of fact, I'm gonna tag you into him anyhow later on.
Okay.
He thinks like us. He is. I think I tagged you one time. His name is Ed Stratcher. He's called the something healer, but he doesn't heal anybody. He shows you how to heal yourself. Okay. Ed's pretty good. Ed will cuss you out. Ed's something else. But he just got back. Matter of fact, we're gonna be having lunch probably in a couple of weeks I know he's out in California right now running a seminar. But we talk about the same stuff that you're talking about. We talk about. But him being in Ukraine, he's shared some things with me. And he said, "Don't share them yet." Okay. And it's funny. And one of the things I kind of mentioned, I said, I have another friend in Detroit that talks about some of the same exact things. He sent me some pictures and things. But he told me not to share them yet, and I was like, "Wow." So But I'm like, all right, but we're
that too. I think they've been using frequencies for a long time since they came here. They pinpoint them. I say came here. I'm gonna say took over because I'm not gonna say they came here off a ship. Right. I'm gonna say when they found the right thing to take over with, they said it was around the 13th century.
Right.
And they figured out the best way to control people is you have to remove what they previously knew and indoctrinate them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Dan Calloway, he when he gave that definition and he gave the history of the word free and the word freedom. America is known as the land of the free, which is true. This is why it's true. When he gave that definition, because he said, did you know the word freedom is a Dutch, word they created, the Quakers and shit
Mm-hmm.
like that, whatever you want to call it. That
Right.
word means literally to free you of everything that you know, to empty your
Exactly.
mind of all the
Exactly.
things that you knew, your culture, your spirituality, your essence, all of that was to be freed. So when they came over here, you can't program people if they're thinking on their own and they
Right.
got their own thing. So what they did was somebody wants to join in. Cynthia, let's put you in. Cynthia. I don't know exactly who this is, but somebody named Cynthia want to join in. Hey, Cynthia.
Hi, I don't know. I've never done this before. I'm just listening.
Okay, Cynthia. Which Cynthia is this, by the way? Are you
Uh,
my friend or
Leo's.
huh?
I know who it is. I know who it is.
Okay.
It's a friend of mine. In fact, I told him
Welcome
to talk to her earlier.
you want
Yeah.
to share something? You want something to share? You want to?
No, I'm just listening. I like learning. I'm
And
not
we're
sure what the
sorry.
topic is about.
No, we're talking about. I lost my thought there. What we're talking about, though. But but you're right when it comes to that, because people don't really know the real history of America, and other than what we've been taught, the stories. And I think you froze up there. Hello.
Yeah, I hear you fine.
Okay, I think we lost her.
I'm sorry, we were buffering. I'm sorry.
Okay, all right. No, I said, but people don't understand, really know the real history of this country and everything that we were given as far as our educational sources. I mean, the Rockefellers were responsible for the school books we got. They still are to this day. They're the ones that gave us all this history, the stuff we studied in school. And I've always, and I tell my grandchildren, I say, some of the main things you need to know here is really how to count and how to read. Everything else is secondary. Politics, American history, way before that crap.
Right.
No. That's really not important, because half of us not true in the first place.
Yep.
I mean, they made Harriet Tubman this great superhero.
Yep.
Harriet Tubman was no doubt she lived, but who she really was and all she did, all that's not true.
She was a human trafficker, if you want to know. Yeah, for me, but I can't say that. Of the crowd, because people are especially people that's that live in that and from her hometown. They constantly defending that. I'm from her hometown. I know she was real. I said, okay, I'm not gonna argue with you.
There is some stuff that they don't want to talk about, but the narrative has definitely been changed. I mean, the same thing. What was the dude, the Nat Turner? I mean, there's really no written information. I mean, and Dane talks about that. I remember I talked to one of Dane's, and I agree. Dane, you can't find anything.
None. I tried to research him because I wanted to do a little play or something about him. I tried to get some facts. None.
Yeah, you can't. You can't.
Is that what's his name? William Styron, the Bible book.
Yeah. Right.
The Confessions of Nat Turner made him gay.
Right.
That's all you're gonna find. But you can't
true.
tell people they so proud of Nat Turner. I'm like, that's just a superficial story they created, because when you look at the end, when they finally caught this dude, according to the story, they skinned this man alive.
Yep. Exactly. And
I'm like, you want to believe that means they scaring you. That means don't think about fighting back, because you can kill a few of us, but we gonna come back and we gonna skin your ass alive. I mean, I'm just saying that the things that they've told us, even with the Willie Lynch letter, still to this day, and he's still living. This man is almost 70 years old.
Right.
He's still living. Right. He wrote this letter back in the 60s. But you can't convince people that. They say, that letter is authentic. I say, how can you say it's authentic?
It's not. It's not. And that's something else that I looked at years ago, and I'm like, wow. But it just shows how easy it is to deceive the masses of people. Period. I'm gonna tell you, one of the worst places where I see, it's worse. Africa is probably the worst place on the planet to be at, especially when it comes to religion. Honestly, I mean, dumb people over there. You see some of the stuff in the videos posted. I mean, pastors. I saw the other day. I saw a pastor at church. He's beating people laying on the ground. He beating them with a thing. I'm like, what the? I'm like, what the hell is that?
Told them to eat grass. They out on their hands and knees. What they call it, doggy style, eating grass because
one night I had a pastor that was up under me in Nigeria. Everybody knows who he was, but his name was TB Joshua. TB Joshua just died about 3 months ago. Church of All Nations. He had probably 100,000 members in that place.
Wow.
Nicest dude you ever want to meet. I mean, he really was. I mean, he was really good people. But I honestly have to say, I saw some stuff there that, made my hair stand up. I ain't got no hair, but I mean, I saw some stuff that was just kind of like, I had to sit back and like, okay, what is this? I mean, the man was gifted. There were people would travel from all over the world to go see it because he was known as this healer, and he really wouldn't touch anybody. He would just really just kind of look at you, kind of say words. And, and he invited me over and they paid for everything. I went over and I stayed over there a week and, went off on a trip in other parts of Nigeria. And he said, I want you to go visit this church Tuesday night. He said, I'm not going with you. And in Nigeria, you have to have, if you're a foreigner, and where I was at, you had to have armed security with you. So he sent security guards with me. They took me there. I went to this one church, and oh my God, this man had them doing basically, sexual motions and this and that, in the pulpit.
Oh,
the Lord said this and the Lord said that, and somebody mentioned that I was there. He said, oh, we have Bishop Thomas from America here. He come up and say a few words, I didn't want to say a word. So I got up, and introduced myself, and I said, I'm here on, TB, Pastor TB Joshua invited me over, for the week because he's coming up under my ministry. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, he said, oh, I'm interested also too. Oh, okay. So I said, fine. So after service was over, we went to this restaurant. We sitting there eating, and this pastor telling me about all the women he was screwing and this and that, and he said, oh yeah, I have them on their knees and and they be doing all kinds of sexual favors for me, and they'll buy me anything. He said, oh, I get paid. This nigga, excuse me, I hate to use the word nigga. This nigga was a multi-millionaire, and all these Africans had no money whatsoever. They would, they would come in there and just throw a little handful of change in what they had into the offering plate. That's all they had, and leave out, okay, and you hear them talking out there. Well, I guess I'll go over my corner and sleep, and they lived on the streets,
Oh my God!
Like, oh my God, I tell you, that is, when you're talking about brainwashed and indoctrinated, oh my God, it's worse than it is America. It's not even close. And I agree with what Bishop Tutu said before he died, years ago. He said, when they came, he said, we bowed our heads in prayers. When we got up, we had their Bibles and they had the land.
Yep. The land. But that's
cookies up. Shit. Cookies up. It was almost full. I had two.
I heard something in my room, but I'm live. But so yeah, it's just my I just because I was in it. I was in that same mental bondage for 37 years. And like I said, the only thing was questions. If I hadn't never asked questions, I would have probably still been in there to this day.
So would I. When I questioned everything, it started for me while I was in ministry. And I still stood there for a few years, still preaching to people. But I just thought, I can no longer stand here and tell people things I know is not true.
And that's honorable. That's honorable because my pastor, I'm going to tell you this little story. My little story. When I was questioning everything and I was going on my quest, I had got so frustrated with seeing the shit that was going on in the world and not seeing God or anybody of righteous leadership step up. And I started, I said, I can't keep seeing shit spiral out of control, but nobody's intervening. My prayers is how long are we gonna keep praying? How long are we gonna keep going through this? So I kept trying to figure out, like, where is God at right now? And I was like, if it is a God, I said, you know what? Enough is enough. I went and I went in my basement. I cut off all the lights. I had one candle. I lit that candle. I said, today is the day. If I don't get no answer today, you know, it's just a wrap. And I said, and I called out every name that I knew or that I had learned that was, you know, God. I called on Elohim, El Shaddai, El Nisi, you know, I called out all those names that I knew because I was like, somebody got to show up. I need to see that. I need to see something right now. This is serious. I want
Moses experience.
Right, I need to see it.
Right.
Unfortunately, after all of that, you know, bequeathing and beseeching and all of that, the only person that was left in that room was me.
Right.
And that was my answer. I said, oh, wow. I said, but before me, there was ancestors. That came next. I said, before me, there were ancestors. What did they possess? What did they worship? What did they believe?
Right.
And that was my clue was ancestor.
Right.
And
Exactly.
I just started just digging and researching. I came across Dr. Ray Hagan, and it went off of there. You know,
right. That's my buddy. That's Dr. Hagan. That's Dr. Ray. That's my buddy. I talked to him last week, as a matter of fact. that's my buddy.
Meet him.
We talk all the time.
I talked to him over the phone years ago because I was interested in doing WBLR radio. Right. I wanted to be a DJ on the show. And, but we never did really connect because I don't even think they're still doing a radio show now.
I don't know if he is or not. I mean, he does most of it. He does some radio, I think, up there because I know he's in St. Louis and he's got a place in Atlanta. He does stuff also too. So
yeah,
two places. Yeah. So, but
I bought his DVDs and they went for $5. But I went and bought DVDs and I went and I just said, wow, this is. But I didn't stop and I didn't get stuck in Egypt or Kemet, although I, you know, still held on to the knowledge and whatnot. I just had to go deeper. But at that time, that's where I was when I came to my pastor. I had just gotten my license, my minister license. I didn't ask for it. Okay, They surprised me, almost as if they knew that I was, you know, doing something different to keep me in the church. It was almost as if they knew because right before I was about to take my sabbatical, that's when they popped up and gave me this minister's license, and I was like, oh my gosh, now I have this authority and power. I'm gonna have to, you know, live up to this license. But then I was like, I can't do that. Just like you said, you couldn't deliver the word of God with what you know, with the knowledge that you knew. It was your conscience wouldn't let you do it. So my conscience wouldn't let me because I was working with the youth. I didn't want to tell them the wrong thing. So I said, well, I'm just gonna do some research to find out for sure. And whatever I find, I'm gonna come back and teach it. And they was like, yeah, we want to know what you find. We want to know what you find too. So what I found, I was like, whoa, I'm going to have to take a little bit more time. So I met with my pastor to let him know I was taking a 6-month sabbatical. And that's when what he said to me, let me know. He said, because I was telling him about Kemet, I was telling him about what I was Ray Hagan, I was telling him about what I was uncovering, of course. And this is what he said. He said, I know about all of that.
Right.
Okay. He said, I know about Kemet. I know about everything that you're talking about. He said, but the bottom line is this. It all boils down to what you perceive God to be. And only you.
Right.
And I'm saying, wait, you know about Kemet, but you ain't teaching it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of the pastors, most of them with degrees, they do know, but they don't want to talk about it. And you know, when I wrote my first book was called Deprogramming the Church. It was a very popular book, and I had pastors calling me, man, you talking about me in the book? I ain't talking about anybody. You're gonna cause me to lose my members. I ain't gonna make my car payment, my house, and I say, you're lying to people. Tell people the truth. Stop keeping them about. And one of them actually told me, one pastor of a very large church in Jacksonville, especially, goes, man, as long as they come on Sunday and they get a little happy and they feel good, me feel good, I'm good. Okay, well, you're lying to them. I mean, the people
the same thing that Paul said. So what? If people get saved through my testimony, what's the big deal?
Exactly,
I'm paraphrasing.
Exactly. Yeah. You're right. Exactly. I mean, and that's it, and that's what most of them do. You know, I mean, I'm still friends with a few pastors out here, but the ones that I know that I still talk to now and then kind of leaning the way that I am now, or walking away. Like I've had quite a few walk away after I walked away, and I still have other ones that call me, man, I don't see how you did it. He said, I understand you did. He said, but man, you walked away from millions of dollars. Yeah, I sure did. You know, I wasn't even, and the funny part about it, I wasn't even taking a salary from the church. You know, we were taking over $1.5 million a week. I wasn't taking one penny. I was still working. You know, me and my wife, we had a business.
Stayed in the church a little while longer. You know, I was married to a minister. I should have married another. I'll be rich.
Yep. It's a bit. The church has become a business now. The old church, especially back in the day, you know, 1800s or whatever like that, it was a different church than it was today. It was totally different.
Yeah.
You know, they were more of the spiritual side. They did a lot of things then that now people see as witchcraft or crazy, whatever. Now, you know, but they did a lot of stuff back in the old church that, you know, if the churches did today, I think they'd be a lot better off. They really would. I mean, because there's so many of us in there.
Church wasn't about raking in money. The church initially, from what I understand, and I could be wrong, you can correct me, I understood that the church was a sanctuary. It's a place for travelers that car broke down or their wagon wheel broke off. It was a place where people who were having disputes would go to settle their disputes with their neighbor. It was a place where the widow would go when the husband didn't come back from the war and she needed something. You know, it was a sanctuary. It was a place for a robber who was.
It was, but the black church especially, they wasn't getting up every Sunday morning preaching on Sunday morning.
No.
That shit started after they started watching the white people do it.
Yep, they was feeding people who didn't have enough to feed. They were, you know, if an outlaw was running from the law and he ran up in the church, guess what?
Yeah, you couldn't touch him. You couldn't touch him. They could not. They would not go into a church. I don't care what you was wanted for, what you did. They could not go into a church. That's true. That is true.
What they would do is whatever long it took, they staked that church out till that criminal walked. Once that criminal walked and left that threshold, it was on and popping. But until then, they didn't. You know, it was a sanctuary. The church was literally a place where people went. When you talk about being ministered to, ministry is healing. Ministry is helping people pay their bills. Ministry is, you know, feeding, feeding the kids. That's what it was. And then it turned into, you know, this other thing. It turned into this money-making fashion show, gossiping, clout chasing, you know, type of thing that we as people still love to this day.
My person that was my bishop, I still kind of consider him a spiritual father. It was funny. When I went into ministry and he became my kind of spiritual father, I'd asked him, I said, you know, what is it about women in ministry? I mean, these women will fall head over heels with these pastors. You know, they're married. They don't care. You know, I was a gospel fest, matter of fact, in Detroit, Cobo Hall, years ago. With Rance was another buddy. And what's the other dude's name? The short, heavy-set dude was the thing. He's dead too. No, he kind of reminded you of Rance. So he had no teeth. He had no teeth in his mouth. It's really funny teeth.
James Cleveland.
No, James Cleveland. That's homosexual. No, James. This dude he just died about 5 or 6 years ago, maybe. He was a keyboard player. Anyhow, I can't think of James. He was a well-known gospel singer, but he was a diabetic. He was a diabetic, and he died. He went blind and died. But we were on the elevator going up, and I think it was, I want to say, I can't remember that gospel said, the other female gospel's name. I see her face, but I can't remember her name either. But she was on the elevator, all in the elevator, and he looked at her and said, you need to come up to my room. He was like, he had just got off stage and told the Cobo Hall up. You know, and you need to come up to my room. She looked at him, I'm a married man. Talking about what that got to do with the price of tea in China. I need some too. And he just got through preaching about how you need to be holy and this and that. I'm like, okie doke. Like, that they are a trip. Well, that's what, you know, seeing these, travel, being in ministry and traveling around the way I traveled, and seeing some of these gospel singers and this and that, it was like, wow, and James Cleveland. I mean, I don't have a problem with gay people. You are who you are. I don't care. That's just been. I got 2 children that are transgender, and That one's the pastor, but she's different. I'll say that. That's for sure. But back then, James Cleveland, he would walk across the stage, with his little hanky and just be, we knew he was gay a long time ago.
I didn't know.
But it was kind of like hush hush.
Yeah, because I was a little kid and I was singing in the choir back then, and I knew him. I had an opportunity. Our youth choir sang with our mass choir, sang with his mass choir before,
Right.
and I didn't know. I didn't even really know my music director was even gay. I still don't know to this day. Michael Fletcher.
Oh, okay.
Rumors
That's what right.
You know.
Yeah, and I tell you who really turned me on to it. Was your homegirl? She's now Mother Maddie Moss Clark.
Oh yeah,
so
I used to sing at the cathedral. Yep.
Yeah, man, I know Maddie Moss really well. We were all in this conference one time. This is before I was a pastor, but I was a young minister then. But we were all in this conference. My pastor was well known, so they were. And James Cleveland was on his way, and she said, "That punk on his way." And my pastor, I looked at him. My pastor was like, he grabbed me like, "Oh, looking like that." I said, "What was that all about afterward?" He said, "Oh, I said, I thought something was wrong with him, I said, but you didn't want to judge anybody, I said, but yeah, he was, he ain't the only one, he's not the only one. Donnie McClurkin, he admits that he was.
He admitted, but that's the thing that disturbed me about him. I really don't like him. And the reason why I don't like him was because, and I don't even know, this video might still be up because I saw it on YouTube, where he was at a youth conference some years ago. I want to say roughly, I don't know how long ago. It was just some years ago. Could have been in the 2010s, or I don't remember. But he was at a youth conference, a youth rally or something, and he was on a pulpit ministering. They was, I guess, doing their altar call or something, and they were singing their little, how they do this, sing their little songs and everything. Right. He stopped the services. He said, "I got to tell you something. He basically gave his, I don't know if it was a testimony or if he was revealing himself, but he actually said that he was saying that we have to minister to these young people because it's, the devil is trying to get him. He said to himself, he was in the church. He was molested by some church people. And then he said he in turn, when he got older, now he said he was a teenager and a young adult, he said he in turn molested some kids.
Right.
Nobody said nothing.
I don't know. Oh yeah, that's true.
Nobody said anything. Nobody said, you molested some kids. So why didn't nobody say anything? Was it because they thought because he was a minister that he was above the law, or that God forgave him, and that's a wrap? And that's where I have a problem with, because so many pedophiles have forgiveness, and I got a problem with that.
I got to look up his name, and I'll remind me later on. Send me a message, remind me, look it up. But I can't remember his name now. But it was a pastor in Jacksonville, biggest Baptist church in Jacksonville. Oh God, I'm looking at his face, and I just can't remember his name. But yeah, he came out of Jerry Falwell's college. But he was married. Doing very, very well for himself. He was a friend of mine. Screwed this little 14-year-old girl who's a member of the church.
See?
Kept it up under wrap for a while. He got the girl, he's paying the girl and this and that. Finally, something happened. The girl came out and told it. And on her phone, they found pictures of his dick and pictures of her and him in bed and this and that. He got 5 years in prison. Okay, he got out. Yeah. Florida, first time offenders like that don't get much time. They really don't.
That's all over. The most pedophile are gonna get is 9 years.
Yeah, that's true.
9 years.
This is the thing.
Or assault.
This is the thing. He came back. He was still preaching. He wasn't a pastor. So this other little church over in Jacksonville brings him in to speak. He speaks. They love the way he speaks, and he's now pastor in this church now. And they know he's on lifetime probation, registered pedophile. Now the thing is, no kids can go to this church. No kids go. But I'm like, how in the hell do you put this son of a bitch up to?
Shit.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. That's why I'm like, the church, y'all lost y'all testimony. Y'all had forgiveness. Y'all be the first people to say, well, he without sin. Yeah, that's because y'all in the same pedophile ring.
Yep, exactly.
I got a friend I went to school with. he became a local, I guess, celebrity, so to speak. He became.
Hold on, Daryl Gilliard. Look him up when you get a chance. Pastor Daryl Gilliard, Jacksonville, Florida. You'll see a story. That's his name. He was that nigga. Ooh, I mean, he got away with pure. I mean, and I heard he's still messing with little kids. You know?
It's true because there's no cure for pedophilia. They don't try to cure pedophilia. They don't even try to help them because they're so busy trying to pass pedophile laws. They're so busy trying to tell people that it's normal and natural for a grown-ass person to be attracted sexually to a kid. And the church stand behind this. They don't say shit. Charles Pugh got out of jail he was serving a 5-year sentence for several cases of molestation that he was accused of. He groomed these kids as a grown-ass man.
Right.
He did 5 years, got out, and my classmates talking about we gonna stand by Charles Pugh and welcome him home. Bitches, you crazy? So you a sympathizer. I'm watching you too. I wonder is them rumors true about you was messing around with them young kids back in the day. Y'all stick together. He's talking about what God said to forgive. I say forgiveness is a choice. Yep. And I choose not to forgive pedophiles right now.
Exactly. And you know, and the thing is, you know,
they dead before they made
it's a common thing. You know, people. You know, when I was in Africa, something you saw. You saw a lot of. Well, they don't call it pedophilia over there. There it was kind of normal over there. It really was. But the history of it happening started with them people, not with Africans. Okay. I mean, it was nothing to see an 80-year-old man with a 14-year-old girl, and she pregnant, and he got 3 or 4 other wives. That's their custom. But that was some shit they were come to find out as I looked at the history more when I was there, that they didn't do that shit back in the ancient days. They didn't do that shit. That shit that the Europeans brought in. You know, and the Europeans gave it to them, and they went from there and they kept it.
So, that's the crazy part. I understand, and I do understand that the customs did dictate that they old ass men marry young, but that just makes no sense to me.
Right.
You're not even giving this young lady a chance to figure herself out. She don't even know who she is, and you come and you consume her and take the control. That just makes no sense.
It doesn't. I've never understood that. To me,
I don't get that shit either. You can. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for partnerships, soulmates, and all of that. Right. But the marriage shit is that's a whole nother topic. That's a whole nother day. But anyway, we've been on for an hour. I usually try to keep it going on for about an hour.
I need a couple calls I need to make before I get ready to call it evening. So
I enjoy this conversation.
But we have to do this again so we can talk a lot of different things. We can definitely talk about. That's all.
My baristas and my co-hosts, they've just been chilling.
Oh, okay. All right. Y'all got the good shit there. I need to go get some myself. So that's on the list tomorrow.
But they grown. They adults.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. All right. Well, love y'all. Y'all be cool.
I'ma still be on your post talking shit. I got your back.
Of course.
Believe me, I'm telling you. I've never met such a more positive, sweetheart, real, genuine person. Even on social media, we never met in person.
Right.
I feel like
we have a mutual friend, right?
Well, yeah, I didn't want to talk about that. That's a different.
Yeah, we won't talk about that.
Yeah. But anyway, I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you and what you do. I didn't know you was an archbishop. That's like now I know I could call you when they coming at me. I could say I'm about to go get my bro.
Yep, exactly. Just call me. I would light their asses up. Don't have a problem with it.
I'm gonna be tagging you.
All right.
All right, but thanks once again. I want to thank you, and I'm about to just go ahead and play my little sponsor thing.
All right, sweetie.
All right. Peace and love. Peace and love.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Peace. All right, y'all. That was my brother Michael Thomas. I didn't know he was a former archbishop. That's crazy thing. That's crazy thing. But right now, we just gonna play some of my sponsorships, some of my people that I'm supporting and business. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you so much for tuning in. All right. And we are out of here. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget L Boogie Speaks with Dre Vibes, J Bunny. We're going to be back again next week with some more stories to tell because, hey, we got stories, y'all.